Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Manny Soto. I'm doing this problem to solve the quadratic formula, and I'm gonna show you how to use a Python as a calculator. The Python basically it's gonna help me to check my math because for some reason I'm doing some bad arithmetic today. We all get those bad days, and it's not always necessary to have a calculator. Sometimes you could just get if you want to know something like some weird thing like what's a square root of 169, you just put math that is QRT 169 and you get it. It's 13. You don't have to go doing some weird thing, or maybe like 27 plus 37 plus 5. You don't want to waste time doing all the math correctly and just to get the arithmetic wrong. So let's go ahead and begin with doing quadratic formula again, because I posted a video where I was checking the solution I got and it had an error, and it was an arithmetic error. So let's go ahead and again and begin with the quadratic formula. You keep watching these videos and you'll know exactly how to do it exactly like I do. And this is 4ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Then x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, and the determinant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. And I'm going to rewrite the quadratic formula in terms of the determinant because well, you'll see now it makes it look simpler. The x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of d, which we just defined right there, divided by 2a. So let's begin by identifying. Always do this. Begin by identifying your a, b, and your c. And let's just write them out because those are the things that you need. Your a, b, c, and d. Your a is the number in front of the x squared, which is 2 in this case. I'm going to write the 2 again so that I can know that it's a 2. That thing looks like a 1. And your b is the number in front of the x, which is an 8. And your c is the number without a letter, which is a 5. Your d we have to compute, but let's just verify that on the other side of the equation is a 0. And we check this off. There is a 0 on the other side. There's an extra step need to be done if this is not a 0, because this won't work if it's not a 0. So we're missing a d here. So let's begin by computing d. D is equal to b squared. Let's put our parentheses. Minus 4ac, and your b is 8, and your a is 2, and your c. Okay, so now let's go ahead and I'm believing that 8 times 8 is 64. We will double check our math right now. And I left a c here. Look at how ridiculous this thing is. 4 times 2 is 8. And what is our c? Our c was 5. So we have 64 minus 40, which should be something along the lines of 20. I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm going to go with a calculator now. Okay, do you see my calculator here? So first of all, what's 8 squared? When you're using the Python programming language, there's two ways of doing it. It's 8 times 8. That should give us a 64. And if you want to see 8 squared, just do 2 asterisks. And that should give us 64. So we got the first part right. Now, the question is, what's 4 times 2 times 5? 4 times 2 times 5 is 40. Final question is, what's 64 minus 40? And the answer is 24. So let's go back to our drawing board and put our 24 there. So we double checked our arithmetic, we double checked everything, and D turned out to be 24. Now let's apply this on the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is x equals, looks like an asterisk, minus b plus or minus the square root of d divided by 2 times a. And what is our a? Is 8. And our d, remember our d is right there, 24. And our a is 2. Okay. B, D, and A. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the arithmetic here. Minus 8 plus or minus the square root of 6 times 4 divided by 2. I do this step here, the 6 times 4, because when it's multiplication, each number gets its own radical. So let's go ahead and do that part. Minus 8 plus or minus what is it? 6 times 4, and each number gets its radical. All of this. Oh, look at here. I almost made an error. 2 times 2. So let's put it here. I could have just put a 4, but for clarity in the video, I'm just gonna put the 4 down here. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2, and now we got 4. So now it looks like we're on the right step to getting this nasty problem. And like I said in another video, that I'm gonna work on getting easier problems for showing these simple concepts. But at this point, we got minus 8 divided by 4 plus or minus the square root of 6. What's the square root of 4? That's an easy one. 2. Let's put it in the front. And quantity divided by 4. Notice that it's got the same denominator, so if we add this, we get this previous answer. Minus 8 plus or minus 2 square root of 6. Okay, so let's write out our solution set now. Our solution set, let's use a different pen so to be a little colorful. So our solution set, our x are equal to minus, what's 8 divided by 4? 2. Plus or minus, what's 2 or 4? 1/2. So we have the square root of 6 over 2. Oh, how about instead of putting the plus or minus, we take off this minus and add it as a second solution. That's a better way to illustrate what the solution is for beginners. So minus 2 minus square root of 6 over 2 is the second solution. Now, which solution do you want to test first? We got 2 of them. Let's test out the positive one first. What I mean by positive is this guy here. Notice how the negative one, we'll just leave that one alone. So to test it out, we have to replace every x in this equation with x value that is highlighted there. So let's go ahead and proceed. And we have let's write it down here, 2x squared plus 8x plus 5 equals 0. And then here we put our minus 2 plus square root of 6 over 2. And we put the same highlighted value. Don't mess with the other one because it won't come out right. Minus 2 plus square root of 6 over 2. Now, you can't do anything. You can't multiply this 2 in there because it has a square. You must do the exponents first always. So you got a 2. And I'm going to write it out so we can see clearly what we're doing. This is squared, so it's that multiplied by itself. Notice how I did some nested brackets. Brackets can never hurt you. Omitting them can make your problem come out right, but adding them it rarely does damage. Positive times negative is negative. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 8 square root of 6 over 2 plus 5 equals 0. On that step, notice that I just distributed the 8 into each of the terms. Okay? So here, we're going to do what is called the FOIL method. The first, which are the 2's that get multiplied first, and then the outers, which is the 2 and the square root of 6 over 2, and then the inners, which are these 2, and then the outers. It's a FOIL method. So let's do 2. Now we retain our brackets, and negative 2 times negative 2 is 4 minus 2 square root of 6 over 2 minus 2 square root of 6 over 2 plus square root of 6 times square root of 6 is just 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. And notice here how we have two just regular numbers, minus 16 and plus 5, that is equal to negative 11. And we bring down our radical, plus 8 square root of 6 over 2 equals 0. Now, let's go ahead and do the arithmetic in there before we do anything else. So we're going to keep our negative 2. And then we have 4. And these are two negatives. So it's minus 2 square root of 6 minus 2 square root of 6. Well, we know it's going to be negative and the denominator is going to be 2 because you have the same denominator. But 2 square root of 6 and 2 square root of 6 is 4 square root of 6. And this is 6 over 4. Let's reduce it. This becomes 3 over 2. Because this is 3 times 2 and this is 2 times 2. So it's just 3 over 2. We cancel out a 2. Minus 11 minus 8 square root of 6 divided by 2. Now, this nasty problem here, let's just multiply out the 2 in there. We know they're just numbers, but I picked some really nasty ones, and I will do better. This is not good for teaching. Maybe there's a math person that really enjoys seeing numbers, but this is not a good example for teaching. But this is what you will encounter in real science problems. So minus 2 times 4 is negative 8. And negative to negative is positive. and then you get 4 square root of 6. And negative times positive is, what is it? Negative. And you get a 3 there. Remember the 2's cancel when they multiply in there. And now we get our minus 11 minus, what's 8 divided by 2? 8 divided by 2. Let me write that instead. Notice here how we have 8 divided by 2 and they're not in the radical. That's easy. That is a 4. And we keep our square root of 6. And that is equal to 0. So now, notice that we have a positive version of this guy. A positive version of this guy and a negative. So when you add them, they become 0. And then we have minus 8. And what? Where did I make a mistake? This looks awful. Okay, I see my mistake. Let me highlight it so we can correct it and not have to redo this problem. Notice here how this is negative and this is negative here. And when we added them, we got correctly a negative. Oh, well, this is correct here. The checks. Oh, notice my mistake is ridiculous. Notice the 2 here. The 2 was never negative. I just inserted a negative out of thin air. Do you see that negative right here? And right there? So that means that negative does not belong. So basically, the signs this should be an 8. Okay, so I'm gonna go with, let's solve one thing at a time. We're just checking if we got it correctly. That's all we're doing. So this should be a positive, and this should be a positive. And when you multiply that, positive times negative is correctly a negative. So this has the correct sign. Positive times negative. Well, this here becomes a negative, of course. So we have negative square root of 6, but then it doesn't cancel that. But here my math went wrong. Notice here my positive, that should have also stayed as a positive. So I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to fix this. Okay, and they canceled that correctly. The only part that is messed up now is 2 times 4 should be positive 8. And 2 times 3 over 2 should be positive 3, which yields a positive 11. Minus 11, and that is equal to 0. And you get 0 equals to 0. Positive 11 minus 11. So that solution is correct. Forgive me, I got distracted for a second, but now we're going to check the second solution. And I will, now that we know that this answer is correct, since these are conjugates, we know that the other one is correct. So let's just do the exercise of getting the math right. I'm going to erase this first check. You could pause the video and check it later if you want to see it. But let's, I'm going to erase all the red stuff here. Okay. My eraser. And then we're going to do the second solution, the one with the negative. Is this good enough? I'll get a fancy color to ensure that no red throws us off with any weird sign or something. Okay, so let's get this fancy color here to check the second one. And remember, now I'm gonna circle the one that I'm gonna use. We're gonna use this guy here and replace every x in the original equation with that guy. So we have a 2, and this is our x squared plus 8, and this is our x plus 5 equals to 0. So now we have a minus 2 minus square root of 6 over 2 minus 2 minus square root of 6 over 2. Looks like we're done with the first step. Good. This here, we're going to expand it out because we can't multiply the 2 in there due to the exponent. So we have 2, and then we have minus 2 minus square root of 6 over 2 divided by minus 2 minus square root of 6 over 2. And here we're going to multiply this into there, distributing it. I'm gonna do some steps to make it easier. So it's 8 times 2, and it's going to be a negative 16. And we're going to have a negative here, and 8 over 2 is 4, so we're going to have 4 square root of 6 here. I explained how to do that multiplication earlier, and we're going to bring our plus 5 down. And all this equals to 0. Now we're going to do our multiplication first. And we could multiply this number in there first, but it's easier to just leave it to the end. Well, it doesn't really matter. Let's do this multiplication first, since I already explained how to FOIL them out. So we're going to do a 2 times this gets distributed, this 2, so we're going to end up with parentheses, and everything else stays the same. 2 minus square root of 6 over 2. And this becomes a negative 4, and this becomes minus square root of 6. I did a step in my head which I don't recommend for beginners to do. Beginners should do it right until they master it. So you get minus 11, and that's a minus 16 plus 5, minus 4 square root of 6 equals 0. So now we have minus 4 minus 2, and that is 8. And then we have a positive because we're multiplying the 4 plus times the negative. And then you have a 2 square root of 6 here. And then this becomes a negative times negative is positive 2 square root of 6. And then you're left with a positive at the end. And then this is a 6 over 2. Minus 11 minus 4 square root of 6 equals 0. Okay? So let's go ahead and add this out. When you add these two, you have 8 plus 4 square root of 6 plus 3 minus 11 minus 4 square root of 6 equals 0. And plus 4 square root of 6 minus 4 square root of 6, that's 0. 8 plus 3 is 11 minus 11, and that is 0. So that right there confirms that this solution set is correct.